Pregame.com.
Thursday, ESPN action. We're going to the Big Ten. We've got Michigan traveling to play Illinois. I'm Marco D'Angelo. I'm joined by Scott Spreitzer. Scott, Big Ten action. This is not the elite of the Big Ten. Michigan's up there, but Illinois, they had a 6-game losing streak. Finally got it snapped on Sunday against Iowa. Now they got Michigan coming to town. This is actually going to be my best bet. I'll let you open it up, set the stage, and then I'll counterpunch it.
It's amazing what has happened to Bruce Weber since he took this job, because I was a big fan of his in the Missouri Valley when he coached at Southern Illinois. And his leaving of Southern Illinois has really hurt two programs. The one in Carbondale, because they haven't been the same, and of course the Fighting Illini, and he had that nice run last year where they knocked off easily UNLV in the first round of the tournament, and kind of sparked some feelings that things were coming around and happening for Illinois. But the bottom line is, you look at that first matchup, the Wolverines won the game by 9 points earlier this season, and Myers Leonard, the big man for Illinois, was in early foul trouble, so he was basically kept under wraps for the entire game. The scary part, if you want to back Illinois in this one, to me, is they had a guy who never scores hardly at all, a kid averaging 5 points per game, that goes 7 for 14 from the floor, scores 18 points, yet they still lose 70-61. So it's a tough spot. We're going to break this game down, but back in Illinois is a scary proposition right now with the way they've been playing.
Well, definitely they're the team that needs the win more, but I think Illinois really, they got to wait to the tournament, to the conference tournament, and hope they can make a a deep run to try to get anything as far as an at-large. This team's been, like you said, it had a 6-game losing streak. And before we get all excited because, they took care of business on Sunday and beat Iowa, I want to point out, I'm a situational guy. That was the best situation in the world for Illinois on Sunday because they were catching Iowa off back-to-back upsets of Indiana and Wisconsin. If Iowa wasn't going to be flat that day, they never were going to be. So I think you can't put too much stock in that win. And Michigan, on the other hand, they had a bad loss on Saturday. They lost to Purdue, rather handily. Purdue took it to them, pretty much pillar to post in that game. They ended up losing, I believe, by 14 points. But they were coming off 4 wins in a row, and they were really in a negative situation because going back to their 3rd win in a row, it was a big upset for them. They come off upsetting Ohio State. Then they went on the road the next game against Northwestern, a game that I did with Brian on video, and I thought that they would be flat for the Northwestern game. They lost they should have lost to Northwestern. They were down that whole game, made a huge second-half comeback against Northwestern, sent it into overtime, and then scored the first 9 points of overtime and ended up win going away. So coming back home, I think they were a little bit lackadaisical. Purdue was a team that needed some wins. Purdue's been one of those teams that at times looked like, a legitimate contender.
Sure.
And other times this year they've looked very, very bad. So they're coming off a game which I just think they were a little bit gassed on Saturday. You're going to get their best effort tonight. Yep. I like Michigan here.
And I don't care who Purdue would have played that day. They couldn't miss. And I don't know if anybody could have stopped them that day. It was just one of those days when Purdue was on from the floor. But, yeah, you're right. And I think this mindset of Illinois has to be quite fragile right now. And they might be at the point, if Bruce Weber, I think, was even in a better situation, wasn't so firmly planted on the hot seat, it might be one of those situations where he tells his team, not really tells his team, but sets a tone of let's get ready for the postseason tournament. That's where we're going to make our bones if we do this year. The bottom line is they're 6-10 in conference play. And a loss, they play this game at home against Michigan. They play out Wisconsin to wrap up the regular season. Now let's say they go 1-1, which is probably best case scenario for this basketball team. If they go 1-1, they are still going to be 4 games below 500 in conference play, and they've had this tremendous losing skid with a couple of wins peppered in there since they beat Ohio State. And so I don't think they're not getting any at-large attention right now, even though they've beaten a couple of big teams, talking about when they knocked off Michigan State, for instance, and even Ohio State. That Ohio State game, by the way, if you saw the game, Brandon Paul went nuts. He had 43 points, one of the top performances of all time for Illini basketball. But since then, I was looking at what he's done. He's a 40% shooter since that win over Ohio State, and he's made just 29% of his three-point attempts in his last 4 games. Brandon Paul has made a grand total of 5 3-pointers in his last 4 games combined. I don't want to back a kid who's a leader of a team who's shooting that poorly right now. And also, when Michigan comes to town, you're talking about a team that can still get Myers Leonard and coax him into foul trouble. If I'm Bruce Weber, if I'm the on-court leader, if I'm Brandon Paul for Illinois, I'm not worried about getting my shots early on in this game. What I'm looking to do is get Myers Leonard a ton of touches early on in the contest. Got to keep this big kid focused inside. If he can get 4 or 5 shots, and if I'm Bruce Weber in the locker room, I'm going, dude, you're shooting 6 of the first 10 shots we're going to take. I don't care if you're triple teamed, because they've got to get him focused. If he doesn't get focused, he tends to get into foul trouble. His game suffers for the entire contest. But in this particular game, I got to back Michigan with you. There's one pretty cool stat about Michigan this year. Coming off a straight up loss, they're 7-0 straight up and against the spread, 5-0 in Big Ten play, and they really ratcheted up on the defensive end off a straight-up loss. Those 5 wins in Big Ten action off a loss, they're holding those 5 opponents to 53 points per game. So I think the Illini are going to see Michigan's defense at its very best.
Well, I like this situation. And you talk about Illinois having trouble scoring. Michigan, prior to the Purdue game, they had held the previous 4 opponents to 41% or less from the field. And this Illinois team's not a great shooting ball club. So I like Michigan. I'm making them my best bet. And it's nice that they're both, that stat you put out, straight up and against the spread. But in this case, the spread I don't think is going to be an issue, because we're going to be looking at a game that the line could be as low as Michigan a pick, or it could be as high as Illinois -2. Depends.
They win, you win.
Yeah, it depends what Vegas wants to do with Illinois in a perceived must-win situation. But I like Michigan. I got Michigan winning this by 5 or more. So we're going to go ahead and make Michigan our video best bet of the week. And every week when we do our video best bet, we give you a coupon for $10 off. When you go to your checkout, just enter the coupon code. And this week, since it's Michigan, we're going to make it Michigan and the number 10. All one word, Michigan, number 10. You're going to get $10 off your purchase, anything you buy at Pregame Pros. And if it happens to be a $10 package, it's free on RJ, but that doesn't happen too often, especially since he's actually bought a couple lunches in the last few weeks. So you're not going to get any. You're not going to get any free ones there. So check out that. And also, we're taping this. It's a Thursday game. Every Thursday at Pregame, we offer 1 capper. We give them away for $1. You get a best bet from one of our top cappers for $1. This week, somebody very near and dear to my heart is the dollar capper. You guessed it, it's me. So you can check that out. You'll get my best bet on Thursday for $1. Check that out at pregamepros.com. He's Scott Spreitzer. I'm Marco D'Angelo. We're going to be right back. We're going to look at an NBA game on Thursday. The Orlando Magic play host to the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's up next.